Norman, there's a ghost in your closet.
Yeah, I can see him.
Hey guys, look. Oh, closet's open. Norman finally came out.
Antonio's like, we don't have ghosts up here, Canada.
Yeah, the ghosts don't exist in Canada.
It's too cold out here, bro. They couldn't. Alrighty. Hello, everybody, and welcome to good old Lap 18 of the Lap Zero podcast. I am here, Antonio. You know me very, very well. I'm joined with my boy Dave, Levi, and Norman. And we got probably the biggest weekend, I should say, of racing that just passed. And we got a lot of stuff here for you. So I think we're going to do a quick run through of NASCAR, then we're going to pop into some IndyCar, and then we're going to pop into some F1.
It was a lot of racing. We got
lots to talk about.
I was actually pretty happy that the Coke 600 had a rain delay because it was like a little bit of a breath. You know? I don't know if it made the race better. You'll talk about that, but anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it was nice, honestly, not having all three back-to-back. You didn't have to consume your entire Sunday. But I guess, yeah, let's get into some NASCAR. So you're going to laugh because I'm the NASCAR guy, and go figure, I watched both of the other races in its entirety, but I couldn't watch the NASCAR race in its entirety because they moved it to Monday.
Oh, yeah.
And guess what? Canada, it's not a holiday, so I only caught the last 100 laps. But
oh, really? Oh, no.
I know, the worst part of the race, too. I love it. So... anyways, it was a good race, though, from what I saw. There was definitely lots of cautions. I know some of it early was due to rain delays. There was obviously, you're going to get 3 for the stages alone. But I think they finished with like 13 or something. It was ridiculous.
4 stages.
14, maybe?
It was a lot.
Yeah, 4. Yeah, sorry, did I say 3? I meant, yeah, but there's 3 stage breaks, though, is what I meant. Yeah. So there's 3 stage breaks. There was 4 stages. Again, still not sure why they run stages in this race. It's kind of known as our like endurance race. So I don't feel we should run stages in it. But
I don't know why they run stages at any race.
I'm with it. I agree. All in agreement, say aye.
Aye.
Dave's in it. Dave doesn't care.
Anyways, Dave's just here. He doesn't know.
I'm just here. No, I'm sorry.
Dave's like, question mark?
I was confirming the amount
I'm
of
abstaining from this
like
vote.
a lot.
I'm confirming the information while y'all are trashing on stages.
I took a picture of the bar, didn't I, and sent it to you, Dave?
Yeah,
it was
like,
ridiculous. You know that bar Fox has on the top where it's just like, this is how many races laps were green and how many were yellow, and there was even a red in there. So
can we trash that bar too, or is it just me?
How do you put a red flag in there? You don't turn a lap under red flag.
No, I mean, that's true. I mean, all the bar does
we're
is
changing
really just
our
make
bar
someone tuning
standards.
in.
Yeah, I don't like it.
It makes someone who tune in look at it and be like, oh, okay, this race is dog shit. It's yellow the whole time. But no, it's funny. Especially because every time you get to the end of the race, you just see like yellow. Okay, there's a little gap. Oh, yellow. Oh, there's a little gap. Okay, we're back to yellow. Anyways, fun times. But no, overall, man, I thought when we were actually racing, it was good quality. Or not necessarily good quality. There was some crazy stuff that went on there. We saw Chase Elliott right hooking Denny Hamlin, which I don't want to say wasn't overdue for Hamlin, but I'll be honest, in this instant, I didn't see the laps leading up to what happened. Chase was really complaining that he was running him like garbage, which isn't, uncommon for Denny. Not to bash him, he's a great driver, but you know what I mean. It's not uncommon for him to run you hard when he's racing hard. But yeah, Chase just right hooked him. He was just done with it. He got stuff in the fence, and he just decided to turn him down into him. And we know for a fact now, because actually, go figure, NASCAR suspended him, which is awesome. I love to see that because honestly, that means a precedent has been set. So we now know that if you right hook someone, it's a suspension. You don't have to go over and punch him out as well, like Bubba did last time. So
yeah, right.
That's always good. We know there's going to be some Chase's back promos, not next week, but the one after when he comes back. So it's a win-win for everybody. Let's be honest here. Corey LaJoie gets to jump in the car next week. So
yeah.
What did you guys think of that? I mean, I thought it was crazy. I was surprised they suspended him, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I didn't like how Mike Joy. I feel like I trashed on that guy a lot, but he was all trying to, like, when it went down on, he tried to verbally be like, well, maybe Brad K got into him, it's like, can't be against Chase here. And Clint's like, no, it was retaliation.
Yeah.
He turned him.
Oh, yeah. So I agree with you on that too. Because in the moment, I immediately started complaining. I was like, I was like, of course Mike Joy is going to defend Chase Elliott. No, I don't want to start a hate train on Chase Elliott. Like, I like the guy. He's cool. But we definitely know, like, he's NASCAR's marketing guy. Like, they love to push him everywhere. They're very happy when he wins and stuff like that. But as soon as Mike Joy said that, I was like, dude, come on now. But then if you actually look at the replay later, Brad did hit him, but he was already on the way over to taking out Denny anyway, so I don't think it really did much. It might have over-exaggerated what he wanted to do, but still.
Yeah, and the telemetry spoke for itself, I guess, as far as NASCAR was concerned. You know, they've got turning radiuses of steering wheels and, I mean, acceleration, brakes. I mean, they could see everything that Chase was doing in that car, and they said that was kind of the final. They said cameras. I don't know what you could really tell from a camera. I mean, of course, you can tell if a guy's just like rah, to the left, but I mean, I don't know.
I'm guessing it was in-car camera, probably.
Yeah,
they probably saw him crank it left.
I guess. I mean, how hard do you have to crank it for it to show up on a camera well enough to go, yeah, that guy needs to set a race?
Yeah.
Maybe he was throwing the middle finger out the window, and that's what they saw while he was turning left. You know?
I thought it was early for that, though, to be honest with you. I was surprised he didn't just pay him back later or something, because I didn't think it would have trashed his car too bad. I mean, it was definitely trashed from smacking the wall that hard, but I don't know. I didn't think it was right hook worthy, but maybe there was some more that happened before.
I would say it probably was. There was a line cross somewhere in the race or overtime, and Chase probably had just a lapse of judgment at that one moment and hooked him. They just rage that builds up in you, and you're just like, I can't do it anymore, and you just snap. And I think that's probably what happened there.
Yeah, especially in how big of a race it is and this kind of point situation after being off. I'm sure emotions are running high in that situation. I mean, I guess he has to get a waiver now to still be in contention for the playoff. I did see sources that said he will likely get one because they've given it to other drivers in this scenario. So I guess we'll see how that goes.
And it's Chase Elliott.
Let's be honest. If they kicked him out of the playoffs, I think it would be a miracle, to say the least. But I don't think they will. I don't know. I don't know what classifies kicking someone out of the playoffs. I'll be honest with you. I feel like through suspensions and stuff, you probably should still maintain your playoff eligibility. Like you still raced for it at the end of the day. I mean, NASCAR wants a win and you're in situation. So I'd say it's fair that he gets back in, and I don't think he's done anything worse than what other guys have done to get in. So,
right.
I guess we'll see.
I don't know. I mean, as we've all stated, casual fan Dave over here, like, I think it didn't look that serious as far as the cars hitting went. Of course, Denny hit the wall really hard and that sucked, but like, it didn't look like this really serious apparent incident. It's definitely not something that like I stood up and went, "Hey, whoa," you know. And so I was kind of surprised to see the suspension. Personally, I mean, then I saw Denny's tweet with the telemetry, and yeah, I mean, he hooked him. But I think I agree with you. It's good that we have precedent now. But you better be careful with your inputs in that car, because it could be the difference between a suspension and not. You know,
can I just ask, how does Denny get Chase's telemetry?
Can you see everyone?
Well, the deal was they were blocking out like the dashes, the digital dashes of these cars at the first of the season because they didn't want to give away secrets. And now you're telling me that Denny can just get his telemetry?
Maybe it's something.
I'm thinking that he went to NASCAR or something.
Yeah,
but they shouldn't be releasing that either, in my mind.
It's a really good point. I mean, I imagine every car is probably fitted with, I mean, Norman can probably speak to this better than I can because he's an aviation guy, but I'm sure they're fitted with some sort of like black box, something that reads all that stuff, right? That they could just pull at any time. So
they stole it.
I imagine at least NASCAR bare minimum has access to it. But yeah, you're right. That is weird. I never thought about that because they're two totally different teams. It's not like they're even on the same team. So
they treasured it.
I could see where like NASCAR would give Denny Denny's if he wanted it. But I don't see where Denny has another team's telemetry if they're trying to be secretive about everything. But
on that convo,
it's a conspiracy.
They probably released it to him because it was part of the accident, is what they're going to claim. It's like us going to the DMV to get accident reports from the thing. That's probably why they gave it to him. And he was probably in on the not in like that on the investigation. He's being looked at too in the investigation. So they're comparing, all this stuff, and they probably send the teams a file. So I'm pretty sure Chase Elliott has his telemetry too.
Well, and here's the other part.
That would make sense to
me. Yeah, if it was post penalty, they already made their decision and they're releasing this as kind of a wide open. Here you go. This is all the stuff we used, and this is how we came to our conclusion. Then yeah, that does make sense, and that might be what happened. I don't know the details, and especially that's behind closed doors, so to speak, with NASCAR and stuff.
He did get it out pretty quick too, though. I like that Twitter post was up like probably within an hour or two of the race being over. I feel like I thought it was up there really quick, but mind you, I guess you can discuss a lot with an official in an hour. So who knows? Maybe they resolved it that quick, and NASCAR just took their time coming up with a proper penalty as opposed to like when the decision was actually made versus when it was posted, sort of thing.
I think it would have looked better if Hamlin would have let the penalty be posted first and then posted that, than posting it like he did, though.
Right.
Yeah, I don't disagree for like PR sake and stuff. And Denny's been kind of known to be a bit of a hothead on Twitter and stuff, so I'm not surprised. He's usually pretty vocal about stuff, whether it's for which is actually good. I actually encourage more drivers to be vocal, maybe not necessarily in a hothead way, but I do like Denny because he does speak up on behalf of drivers and teams. He's one of those guys that can actually attest to a lot of these things because he can see it from both perspectives of what's best for the sport based off of the driver and the team's perspective. So I like that side of things, but I do know that sometimes when he gets mad, he goes a little bit off the rails pretty quick and jump into conclusions and stuff. But hey, he had a factual point there. Like he had proof to back up his point. So I mean, I guess it's valid, but I know what you mean for sure.
Just seemed a little weird. That's all I'm saying. I love conspiracies.
To backtrack just a little, because you're talking about like the telemetry stuff. You can't hide behind anything nowadays. Like used to, they could have done that, and all they could have gone off was the in-car cam. And that was back in the early 2000s. Now, NASCAR has everything that your car's doing.
Yeah, and I mean that to your point, I think that's what frustrates me personally the most about this whole situation is the post out of the infield care center. Here's Elliott, and he didn't just say, "I turned him. I didn't like what he did. I turned him." He says, "Oh no! Once you hit the wall, these cars, you can't do nothing." So, did you hit him? Well, like I said, you just can't drive these cars after it hits the wall. Shut up, Chase. Yeah. You know what you did, bud.
Yeah, without sparking too much of a debate on it, I'm actually curious what your guys' thoughts is on this, because I'm wondering, like, do you guys think NASCAR steps in too much nowadays? Because I know back then they used to, like 100%, they used to be like, let the drivers figure it out on track. And I think a lot of people like that because there wasn't this, hey, this guy gets a 5-second penalty for this infraction and this article and this, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, not that I'm dissing F1. I do really think with them, you can really easily kill someone by doing something stupid.
Yeah.
So it's completely fair in that regard. But when it comes to NASCAR, obviously we know those guys can take a pretty big hit. Now, right hooking someone's a pretty big deal. It wasn't as simple as just dumping a guy. But we have seen them jump in a couple times this year, last year. Do you guys think that they've started becoming more like, hey, we need to start stepping in? Like, do you think they've stepped in too much, stepped in too little? Do you think they should, like, what's your guys' take on it? I'm curious.
Well, my first take is going to be, I was there. I remember the Brad Keselowski and Carl Edwards debacle. And I think that's really when NASCAR said, hey, we've got to get a hold of this because this is getting dangerous. And if anyone doesn't know what I'm talking about, at Talladega, Brad got under Carl Edwards. It was not his fault. Carl Edwards tried to block him coming to the tribal for the win and got sideways and went into the catch fence. the car actually hits the catfish right in front of me in the grandstands and destroyed the car. Some fans got injured by bodywork going into them. So the next week at Atlanta, Carl Edwards paid Brad back by dumping him. Same thing happened. Car got airborne, went into the catch fence. And that's when NASCAR stepped in and said, hey, guys, we can't be having cars going in catch fences. I think that was all Carl Edwards' issue, nothing to do with Brad. But that's where we can't have people hooking people into the walls and stuff because it's dangerous. I think if you're upset with someone, give them a shove in the turn, get them loose a little, see if they spin out or nothing. That's a little bit less harmless. It can still get dangerous. But I do think that NASCAR's got to step in on some of this stuff.
Yeah, and I'm like you in the instance. I think you said this. That he could have waited till later in the race to do something back to him, and that would have set him up for a bump and run or lean on him going into a corner or something that we usually see, that we're used to seeing. Even the hook left into the grass, we're used to seeing that too. But I don't know, they were making such a big deal about it. And, I think Antonio said it, now you've said it, and I'm going to say it, the right hook. I don't know why. I guess we just don't see it because of the danger of it, and people just know you don't do it. And it's not like I think he thought in that moment, oh, I'm going to do this now. I'm going to right hook him now because I might not get the chance to later. I think, like you said, it was a instinct or, just off the cuff. He was just upset, and he just blew up. He just blew up. He threw a temper tantrum in a NASCAR is what he did. I don't think he meant to turn him into the wall directly head first, all that. It was just, you son of a, I'm going to take you out. But at the same time, on your question, Antonio, I don't think they're getting in too far. Like Norman said, but the thing, you got to stop it at some point because all these are is four-wheeled missiles running around.
Yeah.
They're going to get somebody hurt. And at the same time, there's a lot of money tied up in this thing too. We don't talk about it as much on NASCAR as we do other sports because like F1 costs way more than NASCAR. We all know that. But at the same time, tear up cars every single week and it gets expensive. And I don't think they want to see that, especially between Denny Hamlin, Chase. Those are guys that can win races too. These aren't two guys in the back just around, So anyways, that's my take on it. I think NASCAR is doing a good job of stepping in. I'm like you, Antonio. I'm glad there was a precedent set from the Bubba Wallace thing. That was a kind of a one-off, and now they've gone and done the exact same thing again. So now you know what you're going to get, and you might think about that before you do, the next thing. Part of me wants to see them not let him in the playoff. So he had his injury outside of NASCAR, and then he got himself back in probably, and then he couldn't keep his head good enough. So you lose out, man. Like they've given you 2 chances now this season.
Yeah,
it's enough. You've had your chance, bro. But that's just me. That's another conspiracy thing.
I hear you.
For all that. For our podcast,
that's why they need to get rid of the win in your end crowd.
Yeah, I hear you.
Because then now he's hurt himself by being suspended. They get rid of winning your end, and
it creates complications.
Well, now you're one race less than everyone else. So those points that you just lost are major.
What could be? It could be like 2015 again, where Busch won there after his injury as well. So, that's when are they going to put their foot down and saying, "Hey, you missed this many races, like you can't do anymore." Alrighty, so I guess jumping into the next topic that we got here, definitely it was still a crazy race. There was still more to talk about. Chase Briscoe, man, he got a huge penalty. That 14 team got absolutely decimated. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Roasted.
They got demolished.
So do we know what the part was exactly? Go ahead and give the details first.
Yeah, so okay, I'll read you exactly what NASCAR issued in a second for what the part was. But this is what that comes directly from NASCAR. It says the number 14 team has been issued a L3 penalty for counterfeiting a next-gen part. The penalty is a loss of 120 driver and owner points, 25 NASCAR playoff points, a 6-race crew chief suspension, and a $250,000 fine, which, by the way, their cheating didn't even work because they finished like 30th or something.
That's another one. Yeah, like if you're gonna get that much thrown at you, you better win that damn thing.
Yeah, it was quite bad. But anyway, so the piece that they are saying that was counterfeit, and they know for sure like it wasn't unintentional. Like this wasn't like a hood louver thing that like Hendrick was playing off as a mistake. Like this is literally they intentionally counterfeit a part, and they call it the duct that runs to the engine panel. Is what that's all I got. The duct that runs to the engine panel. I don't know what that means, but apparently this duct is designed to cool areas of the car, and like directing air in a different direction could enhance the performance of the car, supposedly. So they're saying that they counterfeit this part down to exact design, even to as much as like the little stamps that NASCAR puts on it, like their, writing and everything. So it was a bang on carbon copy, but definitely designed for performance increase, which didn't work, obviously.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's big, because I don't think we've seen an L3 penalty yet this year, and this is by far the highest.
It's harsh.
It's the highest one they can issue. And the team actually said that they don't intend to appeal. So obviously it was done intentionally.
Yeah, they got busted.
They got busted. That's all it comes down to. But it's a huge penalty for Chase. I don't know if he was in the playoffs to begin with. Do we know? Did Briscoe win? No, he's way out there. He's like 31st right now. 124 points below the cutoff, but I think he would have been in then.
How does it?
So what you're saying is that there will be zero Chase in next race.
Oh,
there's no Chase.
That's true. That is a fact.
Can't have NASCAR race without a guy named chasing it.
Yeah, dude, you're missing out.
Chases ain't gonna be chasing no victory next week. I'm just saying.
All right, that's enough.
You
of that.
nailed it.
Anyways. So moving back into, I guess, the actual racing. Again, I still think overall it was pretty good. Moving on to the end of the race. Guess who won, guys?
I know, you're so.
Yeah, that's right.
On. We don't need to talk about it.
YRB, let's go!
Finally.
Yeah, I knew that was gonna be bad, and you blew up chats everywhere. It was awesome.
Oh man, I saw this one meme, dude, where it was like Ryan Blaney fans watching Ryan actually be able to lead an entire race, put it all together, and come out and win. And I was like, yeah! I was like, that was me right now. I was like, you don't even understand, dude. The guy's like the king of finishing second or like doing well in the early stages of the race.
Yep.
And then not being there at the end, I'm like, killing me. But dude, Penske sweet, bro. I love that team, so that was freaking sweet.
Yep.
I know I jumped a little bit over to IndyCar, but I mean, I guess it would be good. We can segue to IndyCar, man. I mean, is there much more you guys want to talk about NASCAR? I didn't see the whole race. I thought it was good, other than a lot of cautions. But you guys got any more?
Of course you thought it good. Of course you think it was good.
I think it was cool. Well, depends who you are, but it was decently cool to see the rain delay, because we still did get some of that daytime, nighttime, hot track, cool track situation. Because when I heard that the race was starting at 2 Eastern or whenever it started, 1 Eastern, or I don't remember, 3 Eastern. Yeah, when it, like, I was like, oh man, now we're just running 400 lap races in normal time. Like, it's going to totally take the race
Eastern,
away.
2
But
Central.
I felt like there still was that development of the track because we had that kind of extended rain delay. So I thought it was a long race. It felt like the Texas race I went to with the rain delays and the crazy amount of cautions and like the bad restarts but overall for a Monday race, it was really entertaining. I'm happy I watched it.
Yeah, without being. Yeah, I know. We actually saw the pool this time, so we can confirm he does actually go to the pool. So we do know it's legit.
Yeah,
with his Toshiba. I was off working at the pool.
Yeah, with his Toshiba and his gator bats and a nice glass of whiskey on that.
Anyway, I thought it was a good race.
Anyways, yeah, no, I mean, outside of my bias for Blaney winning, obviously, from what I've heard all around, I know the racing was good. I definitely felt long though. Like I wouldn't have wanted to been a fan that was at the track that day. That would have been one of those ones where you're like, okay, the race is over. Like, let's freaking go home, dude. This is ridiculous. So, I think overall most people are satisfied, but I could be wrong.
Yeah,
I don't know. I didn't do my research this week. I apologize.
And Jules, quit changing the national anthem so much on Memorial Day of all days. That was my segue into IndyCar.
Norman looks very dissatisfied over there. Oh, yeah, wait, back onto it. Penske, baby.
Yeah.
The sweep. You should be happy. I mean, Logano sucks, but other than that, yeah. All right,
I'm happy for it.
Let's jump into some IndyCar. Ooh. You don't want to laugh? I didn't actually see the last 2 laps.
We'll get to the IndyCar finish here in a little bit because we got controversy there.
He had 4 red flags, bro. It was like F1 all over again. I was sitting there. I was like, bro, okay, man. No, that's not NASCAR. That was like F1.
What?
Yeah, where was it? There was a race that ended under. They would not end it under.
No, it was like NASCAR.
Like 3
no,
red flags.
It did end just like
stupid,
F1
bro.
about
It was
3 years ago.
Australia this year. Was it not? I'm pretty sure it was Australia. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm talking about Hamilton. So I wasn't talking about the rule implications part of it because I did hear that.
Yeah, that was
know anything about it. So I'm happy to hear
about Abu Dhabi's final race of the season of 2021.
But no, I was referring to the fact that we got like 3 freaking red flags, and it was just like that freaking earlier race this year in Australia where it was like, are we going to end sometime this year, or like what are we doing here? So that was painful. I'm not gonna lie. I actually turned the TV off because I was like, I can't do this.
They were just so
I got to go do something else.
Is the Indy 500, man?
Yes.
Yeah, my fault. Let's run it back.
Thanks.
Well, before we jump to the end of the race, we'll get to that later. Yeah. So, since we talked about him last week and the roller coaster of emotion, let's talk about Graham Rahal starting this race. Or not starting.
Yeah, he didn't quite. Sorry. At that point, I think I would be like, look, there's a reason that this is all happening to me. I don't need to race this race. I need to get out of this damn car and get off this track this weekend.
Yeah. I guess they cranked the cars to start the pace laps, and at Indy they put all the cars down the front stretch. You don't start in pit road; you start on the front.
That's really crappy for him. I'm not gonna lie. When I saw that too, I was like,
"Damn!" He said something
they could crappy about a Chevy
and stay running.
Damn you, Chevy!
Yeah.
Buddy.
Luckily, he wasn't driving a Ford, or you would have never got it started.
Yeah, I know. Ruthless,
no,
dude.
it was. They did after a lap get the race went green. They're still working on the pit road. They got him back up and running and onto the track 1 lap down. He was not relevant all race because he couldn't get his lap back. But I don't think
I have a question on lap backs real quick. So. I mean, this might be good because I might be thinking the same stuff that some people are listening to think as well, because I don't know anything about Indy. So did they used to not have a lucky dog? Because I thought that wasn't a thing.
They don't have a lucky dog.
I thought somebody said there was lucky dogs in this.
You know lucky dog?
There's nothing at all. So he was screwed?
So if you have to stay out.
Yeah. So
and
it's
get
like
ahead of the leader. Yeah.
So it's a wave. You can't get a lap back.
They just get wave bys. Okay. Is the only way to get your lap back.
I thought I heard somebody say that there was lucky dogs somewhere, and I was like, when did that become a thing? I thought they never did that. So, okay, that makes more sense. I'm cool with it. You can jump back into what you're saying.
So, but, yeah, that was just a rough start for Rahal. Unfortunate, but it is what it is. The race pretty much, for me, I thought it was just a routine Indy 500, lots of passing, very exciting through the whole thing. A lot of guys just settling in and racing and trying to get the pit stops. You had Arrow McLaren and Ganassi dominating from the start. I don't know what happened to Palou or Dixon.
Yeah.
They both they didn't have it like I thought they would. Arrow McLaren dominated most of that.
That was unfortunate, man.
Oh, I'm just going to say, Palou got tagged in the freaking pits. I don't know if y'all seen that.
Oh, yeah, I did see that.
That was what he got kind of pushed back to the back because they had to push him back to change a wing. Who was it that hit him? I can't remember. It's a 6 car.
Rosenquist.
Yeah, Rosenquist, and that wasn't the only time that happened during the race.
No,
didn't Catherine Legg
almost took out a freaking tire changer in someone's pit?
Yeah, it was bad. Like, it was darn close to being very dangerous. And I know a lot of people are banging on her just because she's a woman in the social media and stuff. But that happened earlier in the race to somebody who's, just as good, if not better driver than her. But I'm just saying, it happens.
So hold on, can you walk me through what happened there again? I know he spun his tires out of the box, but was the guy who spun his tires out of the box the one who ended up spinning and tagging someone, or did he get tagged by someone else?
Yeah, so he was trying to go up and around the first plate, which Pillow got pulled, right? And so he had first pit stall, so he could go straight out. So he was going straight out, kind of close to the wall, but starting to veer towards, the outside of the pit road, not trying to cut anybody off. I'm not trying to make it sound like he was cutting people off.
Big time.
He was just getting out of his stall and towards the end of pit lane. And the other guy had spun around, and he was just lighting his tires up like they do in Indy. And do they light some tires up out of them pit boxes, boys?
Yeah,
they lay some rubber down.
I didn't know they did it that crazy either till then.
It was like he hit too hard or something. It went for a long time. When they replayed it, I was thinking he should have known that his tires were still going 3 pit stalls down or whatever. But yeah, it just kept spinning. Now, Catherine Legg, when it happened to her, she pulls out, tried to go around the car in front of her, and there was a car to the outside that I don't think she was aware of. Somebody had jumped around her, and so then while she was spinning, she tried to turn a little bit to the left, then to the right, and then she overcorrected and slammed it. Yeah, slammed it. She almost took out a crew member. And that's a horrible way to get out of a Indy 500 on pit road.
That really sucks. I felt bad for her, and sorry to jump in, and I just wanted it's probably good we get some context for other listeners too who have no idea, but I just missed it too. Like, I saw what happened, but I can't quite remember.
If y'all don't think that's the way it went down, that's the way I saw it. It's just, I don't know why. He was probably you're trying to win the race off pit road to get in first place, right? And that's probably where his mind was looking and wasn't really paying attention that he had over-revved and was still spinning.
It was under caution too, so Pillow didn't lose anything, but put him in the back of the pack.
Yeah, no, they got him fixed up, and he didn't lose a lap. No, but he had a damn fine machine, as you'd see later on in the race. He did make it back up to the front.
Yeah. But moving on, like normal, there's always a late caution in this race, and I forgot when the first one came out. But we had a caution come out, and they're trying to finish it under green, so we get a red flag, and everything seems normal. Then we get to the second wreck. It was
doesn't matter.
I forget it was bad who wreck. Was spinning and hit Kirkwood.
Oh yeah, I had to ask. I had it and lost it.
It doesn't matter because Kirkwood is
if anything,
the
it
person
worked
that
like
needs
an
to be talked
elastic
about.
band.
I'm pretty sure these tires are tethered, but that tether did not do its job.
Man.
And we had a tire over the fence, over the grandstand, and into a parking lot. Luckily, there was a gap in the grandstand because I thought, and I want y'all's opinion on this, I felt NBC handled the whole situation really bad because they should have known pretty early that it didn't hit the grandstands, but kept us in suspense for at least 8 minutes of the tire. Like, don't even talk about the tire. Don't
easily,
even
easily
you clearly
could have
see
been
the tire
the worst
go over the
accident
fence,
in American
and that's
motorsport.
all we know for 8 minutes. So they finally tire went over the fence and it didn't hit anything. Everything's fine.
That tire, if you watch it at full speed, that tire did not slow down. That thing was going 160 miles an hour
was
plus.
What got me when
that
they
thing
showed
was
that replay.
Flying
You've seen the
through the
fear
air
in their eyes.
And if you, and Indy was like let her kiss the bricks and gave her a ride home and like apologized profusely.
Did you see the car it hit?
No,
I haven't seen it. I
think it's part of racing. Like, if you're going to go to a race, especially a race that between you and what's going on the track, which is 30 death machines hurtling by at 200 and something miles an hour, like, there's a risk with being a racing fan. But I think you're right, Norman. I felt sick in my stomach because I backed it up myself because I wanted to see what had happened, whether it was bad or good, I wanted to see with my own eyes, and you could see the tire miss the grandstands. So they knew that it had missed and that it was okay, and maybe someone got hit on the ground, but they did a horrible job at milking it for exposure. I thought, because I mean that could have easily taken out a dozen people or more, like seriously close to the worst thing that's ever happened in the US. So seriously, I was just watching like a micro documentary about the Le Mans disaster.
Could have killed a good 15, maybe 20 puppies.
Like, I think that was 84 people, and that was one car in the grandstand. So, like, like a tire, yes, can take out 10 plus people, no problem. Like, that's scary, man. Really, really scary. I don't really think they could have avoided it either.
No, and not to dive too deep in the safety podcast,
but
I said immediately to everyone in the room, I was like, you've got to understand when you go to these events, this is things that can happen, though.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it takes your breath away watching it happen live. I was literally standing in front of the TV, like, give me an update.
Is this the saddest day in motorsport in the last century or not? That was what I wanted to know.
Like, you don't have to tell me, like, if something went wrong, just be like, hey,
the biggest thing since the disaster at Le Mans or not? It was immediately on my mind. As soon as I saw it fly off that car, it's what was in my mind. Like, oh my God. Like, this.
Yeah.
Boogie, dude. Oh my God. Yeah, it's scary.
I think we all took a second to process it too. Like, that thing friggin' boogied off the friggin'
when
track.
I first watched the wreck, when I first saw the wreck, the camera angle, if I remember right, was like the wall camera, the one with the flowers kind of, always fly by. And so you see it go by, and it looked like the tire shot up, and I was like,
it's fast.
Wait,
bad.
I think that's not supposed to happen.
But we're all good.
And then, like, they show it from the other view, and there's
Chevy Cruze.
No tire rolling down the track, and then they kind of, did the replay from the other way, and you can see
we
it
lost a white Chevy Cruze,
like,
and that's
cruising.
it.
But
amazing.
Anyways,
thank God, dude.
luckily,
seriously, thank God.
Nobody hurt that we know of.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, Chevy. Indy was hating on some Chevys, bro.
It's just not their day.
Till the end.
Yeah, right? You keep jumping to the end.
I think it was a real eye-opener, honestly. Like, not just for, for us. We know how much safety's involved. We've been around racetracks. We race. We you know what I mean? We know what it's like. But I think it's a really big eye-opener for a casual fan to just be like, hey, you know what? Like, these guys are hauling ass, and they're riding around on the edge for 200 laps of a car that's going 230 plus miles an hour, and a tire flew off and can fly off and could kill you in the stands at any time. Like, it's a true testament to, like, these guys are on the limit, man. I don't think many people respect IndyCar that are just a casual that don't know much about it. Like, they're doing 230 miles an hour, dude. Like, they are
230. 230 is stupid speed, boys.
It's stupid. Like, NASCAR.
Yeah.
I mean, people watch casual people watch NASCAR for the wrecks. They're just like, oh my gosh, they're wrecking at 200 miles. They're doing an extra 30 miles per hour, and they're not even in a freaking box crazy roll cage, man. They're in a freaking tube. They're in a Pringles tube, dude. Like, that's pretty much what they got.
And can we talk about that in-car camera with Kyle Kirkwood going down there, skidding on his top with all the sparks and everything? What? Somebody needs to teach this man. He tucked his arms in real well. Your shield. All right? Your face mask needs to stay down. The first thing he did, he's like, oh, upside down. I need some air in here. I can't breathe.
I thought it popped up, though. In his defense, I thought it popped up.
Oh, you're going to see me slapping that thing back down,
I'm with
dude.
You. I mean, I would have closed it, too, without a doubt. But, he left it open. And
I've done it being around welders and stuff. I slide my helmet back down if somebody else starts welding sometime. I'm like, bro, what are you doing? This guy's just sliding, and he's like, why is the thing so bright? And why are my eyes getting burnt?
It's hot in here with these sparks, bro. Pop shit up.
So,
I was thinking the exact same thing. I was like, his freaking visor's wide open sliding down the track with sparks.
It goes to show you how used to wrecking they are too. He was so nonchalant about it. He's
Okay,
like,
so
oh,
it was
I'm
just
upside down sliding, bro. We don't.
hot take.
Yeah,
it almost
I
looked
think
like
this
he was like,
proof
"Is it
for
done
me
yet?
that like
Is it
whether
done
it's
yet?"
NASCAR
It's done.
interfering with giving penalties, or we talk a lot about IndyCar safety and how great the AMR safety team is, and we even give crap to Formula One. Like, I guess it was kind of proof to me that like you can safety it to death, but like at the end of the day, like you said, Antonio, these are cars going 230 miles an hour. Like, it's inherently unsafe, and like that's part of being a fan, and that's part of signing up when you're a driver, when you're a dad putting your kid in go-karting. It's something that is generally accepted. Like, this is a dangerous sport. It's very dangerous, and like our job is to keep you as safe as we can, but there's limits to that. Like, what are we going to do? Make the tethers out of steel? Are we going to start like compromising or more steel? I think because aren't they Kevlar? I think that's what I read somewhere. But like, yeah, where are we going to make more compromises for safety? And at what point are we going to have a moment like this where we all realize, like, oh, it doesn't matter
Kevlar
if it's
and
made of
metal
Kevlar
braided,
metal
I'm
braided.
pretty sure.
It
But
doesn't matter. Like, if you hit that hard enough at the right angle, it's going to fly off into the stands. And that's what I was going with this. Is like the only way you make it safer is to sterilize it, and that sucks. So,
and I'm afraid that they're going to pick to slow them down.
I go to COTA.
That's what
I'm
I
fine
don't
with
want.
the risk of getting hit in the face with a piece of
Yeah,
carbon fiber. Like, cool. I don't know. It's part of being a racing fan. Are you serious or not? Are you here for Instagram photos, or are you here to watch the race? You know. And I'm not saying that I would have been happy to get hit with a tire at 160 miles an hour, but if I was there and it flew over my head, it's not like I would have been like, oh my gosh, I never would have expected this to happen at Indy. Like, no, now we know. Yeah, if you forgot, yeah, this is real. So anyway. It's a big deal.
Yeah, and I think to touch on like our safety stuff, I know we joke and say, oh, we're the safety podcast, but I mean it's a big thing in the motorsports nowadays. So I really think a lot of these sports have done a great job at doing what they can. Like, you're never going to be able to protect from everything that can possibly happen. You're not going to. But I think in the regard of safety, I really think American motorsports leads the way. Like, F1's cars are safe. Don't get me wrong. We saw that with Max's 55G impact. We've seen it with other things, but I really think IndyCar has done great. I think NASCAR's done awesome. I mean, they have the most room to work with, but I think they've done awesome. And I mean, the only one that's maybe a little bit on the lacking side is F1, but I think that's more to do with the actual placement of people around the track and stuff. But all things aside, my whole point with what I was saying with this is I really think they've done well with safety. I don't think this is something where we're like, why did this break? I would have never seen this happening. We need to change so much stuff. Now, there's maybe R&D you can put into it to maybe not make it prevent it from breaking in that high of an impact. But if it's a matter of changing something even more that compromises something else, I don't think it's worth it. So again, I think they're doing good.
I think this scenario was just the perfect storm. How he clipped Kirkwood is the reason that tire came off. And I don't think you can predict that.
Yeah, Formula One doesn't do that.
Not with open wheel cars, especially.
Actually, not even close. I think what's the fastest we've seen a
doing
Formula One car go? Like
miles an hour.
211, 212 on the straights, maybe. Like, no, yeah, even at Texas they were doing 230 plus this couple weekends ago. Insane.
And that's like draft and DRS all at once.
Yeah, no way. But still, like,
which is nuts.
That's
the
pretty
most
scary.
dangerous. This was the most dangerous point in the entire IndyCar season, even though they were doing 230 at Texas and it involved the crowd, not the drivers. Like, Kyle Kirkwood was fine. He had his visor up. He walked away, brushed himself off, like, no big deal. So, I mean, it's pretty safe, like, overall.
And if you go back and listen to our podcast about Texas, we all said that we thought 2x2, 3D, something terrible was going to happen at the end of that race.
I like Texas.
And one guy spins and hits the wall, and that's all that happened. I'm speaking about Texas and ending under caution. So IndyCar decides to throw.
Like, can we talk about Stingray Robb?
3 cautions, 4 cautions. I think this actually was one of the original cautions
the first caution,
that had happened.
I think it was.
But
it was the first
Stingray
wreck,
Rob
race.
Again.
It was like, who's
My
that?
man.
Oh, there it is.
I think he was an early caution in the race.
The Stingray.
Yes,
the Stingray beat is what we'll call it.
And it's
we just need to have a Stingray update. I'm pretty sure every week. Like,
I will give him this.
robbing my fun.
It is easy in a long run to lose control of your car at this track, I feel. He just happened to be the first one to do it. Like normal.
I was going to say,
Anyway,
how many
I just
people were in
wanted
this
to,
race?
I didn't want to glaze over that.
33.
How many are professionals
Stingray
and how many
Rob.
spun out by themselves?
But that was a candid shot you made there, so good for you.
Who we made fun of? We made fun of Grosjean?
Mr. the only
Stingray
man I
Rob.
know.
Oh, my fault.
We talking about Grosjean?
Well, yeah, okay. I'm gonna be honest. I missed what the first part said, so I was like, okay, it's the only guy I know.
Man,
I know he wrecks a lot, so let's talk about it.
Levi.
Hey, there's a name I want to
bro.
throw out there before we get to the very end. My boy Santino Ferrucci. I thought he was gonna. It was my call for the last episode. I thought he was gonna win it, and this, and I thought okay. I thought conspiracy. We'll tinfoil hat again. I was like, oh, they're going to do it. They keep going back to AJ Foyt. He's starting to get tears in his eyes. This is going to bring Indy 500. Anyways, yeah.
No, your conspiracy is right. They didn't want him winning because they have a championship contender and beating
these cars are
winning
remote
his
controlled,
first
aren't they?
and beating
There's
the
this dude
defending
sitting up
Indy
there.
500 champion. So
It's
they're
like the
going to
moon
play
landing.
on
It
that
didn't even
for the rest
happen.
of the year.
It was filmed. It's a Scorsese film.
But yep.
All right, anyway.
Anyways, back to your points there.
So, they get going. We had a couple red flags, couple cautions there at the end. I think the end of the race took almost an hour, if not over an hour, to finish. It was really starting to remind me of NASCAR and trying to finish a race under green flag.
Before you go on, you know what's funny? I was thinking too when we were on like lap, like 150 and we had 50 to go. I was like, man, this race is going by really fast. Like Daytona 500 is usually like 3.5 hours. I'm like, we're only 2 hours in. This is great. I'm going to leave it a good time. And I can't. That didn't happen.
IndyCar overtime.
I was stoked. And then
Where's Mike Joy when you need him?
Too bad. You ain't going.
They should have just came on and been like, it's time for overtime.
Yeah.
I was
right,
waiting
green, white
for
checker
it.
number 3.
So they literally red flagged this race with 2 laps to go. They let the cars leave pit lane and take the green immediately.
Which is totally off the wall, right?
Yes.
Like that is not Indy.
No. The race should have ended under caution. It should have been Ericsson winning. It should have just ended. You don't have enough laps to turn a race.
Although that last caution before the red flag, my boy Santino made a really good move on the outside, so I was all for it because I was like, he's going to do it again,
Yeah.
But no, I agree, dude. I love that people try to end it under, racing circumstances, but at the same time, sometimes the cars just fall, dude.
Yeah. And for IndyCar doing it so well at Texas and failing it, I think it's just because it was Indy and they were just like, we got to do this for the fans. But I think the fans would have understood. Also, going back to Ferrucci, he was in second place when that caution came out.
As a fan and a guy that was rooting for him at the time, I have to disagree, honestly. I really think that they called it right with where the lights came on. Yet again, another NASCAR moment. I kind of felt like NASCAR again. We're like, where was he at? Well, you can see the light behind him here, a blur of yellow, or someone's got a snow cone. We really can't tell by this shot, but that is the light. And, no, he's there.
Yeah. I thought he was I thought he deserved second there, which would have changed the whole end of the race.
I think he had the car to beat, man. Like, he was on fire. They built a machine. That thing was just cruising. He was riding in third for almost the whole race, and he asked them, what do I do? And they said, well, can you pass him? And he said, yeah. And they said, just stay back there. He said, okay. As soon as he got the go-ahead, he knew he had one stop left, like he made it to his times. Everybody had a stop left. He just blew past the guys 2 laps. Second, went from third, knocked off second, knocked off first, and was leading the race and running away. Yeah. It was ridiculous how fast that car was.
I think he got ripped off. Though, I thought he pitted too early. And I think the cautions, cautions helped him out get back in the race.
It had to have, because he came in with Pillow right at the first, and I was like you. I thought it was too early, and then he was on that cycle, and the only thing that saved him was the cautions. You're right. Yeah. So thanks, Stingray Rob.
I felt that they should have. I knew when they came out of pit and where he was, and he wasn't on fresh tires anymore, I was like, he's a sitting duck now. I'm like, he needed to be 10 seconds ahead of these guys coming out on fresh tires. But to get back to the end of the race, so it was Marcus Ericsson, our defending 500 champion, and Newgarden. No one has never won the Indy 500. Coming to a one-lap shootout, and I would say this is like going back to the Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen restart at Abu Dhabi. Marcus Ericsson is a sitting duck. There's nothing he really could do to defend there, because you knew Newgarden was going to wait for the backstretch. And with the draft and everything, Newgarden got the run down the backstretch, got him into 3, and there's just not enough time coming onto the front stretch for Ericsson to retaliate down the front stretch.
I thought it was a great finish.
And Newgarden, with
you're
Penske
right,
Racing,
like,
wins his first Indy 500.
Remnants of Abu Dhabi Formula One, like Michael, where's Michael Massey? Like, but it was a very entertaining finish, and Newgarden aced.
Yeah,
it was pretty crazy to see. He was pretty far back after the restart when they took off. Yes. I was like, dang, Ericsson did it again, and.
Well, yeah, and then you had all the, we kind of skipped over it, but was it a Ward that was leading, and they had to do an extra parade lap because he slowed the whole pack down? Was that a Ward? I can't remember who was leading at that time.
That was after the first red flag.
Nice. First red flag, and he slowed the whole cars down so far to get a good run that they were going slower than pit road pace speed.
Yeah.
Pit road speed. And then they took off, and they yellow flagged it and was like, are you kidding me? And they did nothing to my man. These are professionals. He knew what he was doing, and he had to go a whole nother parade lap with these cars at the Indy 500. He should have had to go on around or wait until the whole pack goes around. You're at the back of the pack now.
Yeah, no, there needs to be a punishment for that.
He was doing like 30 mile an hour, they said. You knew what you were doing, and you held up the whole Indy 500 for it.
I know.
Ridiculous.
I had actually moved out to the pool for the final restart and got to the pool just in time.
Damn pool again, dude.
Yeah. I'm telling you, this pool must be amazing.
This pool gets more action than anything in this man's house.
They had the race on out there, so I ran out there to watch the race, and everyone was like, oh, Ericsson's got it on the restart. And I saw them coming off it too, and I said, no. I said, This is Newgarden's race. He's won this race. And they all looked at me like I was crazy. I was like, guys, y'all don't understand how massive the draft is here. Like, he's got
especially when he didn't. Yeah, especially when he didn't have to block from behind.
Yeah.
Ferrucci got such a horrible start that he was blocking the whole time. There was no one. It was just them two.
Yeah. I was like, no. And they all looked at me after the race. They're like, huh? It's like, guys, this is the Indy 500. You got to know this is coming. Like, you need 2 or 3 laps out on a restart to figure this race out. But like I said, congratulations to Newgarden on winning the Indy 500. And I guess really the big topic is the Detroit Grand Prix this weekend on the streets of Detroit. We're not at Belle Isle anymore, which I think I'm going to be disappointed about. We're going to see our first double-sided pit lane this weekend. What do y'all think about that?
chaos.
Yes.
I mean, what are we doing, dude? Come on now.
I feel like this is a gimmick race.
Fortunately, I feel the same way, and I always thought Indy was kind of one of those that stayed true most of the time, unfortunately. But we're seeing it everywhere, dude.
I wish we were still at Belle Isle and just running there.
Yeah,
I felt like that always produced a good Indy race.
I think that's
because it's such a hard course to drive.
Great IndyCar race too, I think.
So. So we're going to the streets of Detroit, but I guess enough really with IndyCar. Let's go to the streets of Monaco.
Monte Carlo. It was Monaco. I mean, you know what you're going to get, right?
Hey, we got rain on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, it was nuts. So, yeah, I mean, that was the big topic, I think, of the whole race if you're watching the race. I mean, Monaco's Monaco. Once the start, right? First lap, everybody kind of gets settled in. They're kind of in a train at that point. The people that did try to pass didn't have that much luck. There was some pretty good passes. Norris actually made a couple of exciting passes.
I thought Magnussen's was pretty good.
Max is okay. Man, there's just some stuff, but we'll dive into it. I think, and I'll go straight to the end and just say it right now. There was a lot of good drives. Stroll was not one of them. I don't know if y'all noticed, Lance Stroll had him a horrible day. He was in the back due to qualifying, and then he was just pushing too damn hard. I don't know how many cars he ping-ponged off of, and I think they had to change his front wing once or maybe twice. He was just having a really, really bad day. Another guy that had a bad day was Carlos Sainz. I mean, he looked primed to shoot. I think he might have had a podium. That car was fast. Leclerc got stuck in the back with all his jive. I didn't really feel like he was ever going to come up there and do much, unfortunately. But yeah, the rain, I think, was the big one. I mean, that was the big talk of the day, if you ask me, because it was like the race was going on and it was starting to feel a little slow, so to speak, and then you started seeing some clouds and people started talking about it. And I was like, at first it was with like 15, 20 to go, there's going to be some rain. And then it was like, with 35 or 45 to go, there's going to be some rain. And it was like, okay, that's not good. And then the rain started on one side in two corners on one side of the track. And I was thinking, it's just going to skirt. It's just me and my wife are arguing about it like we know how Monaco's set up or something, And then she was like, well, if it starts there, it's going to go across. It's like, well, it could be coming over those mountains and it's probably just headed out to sea. I mean, it's just not. Yeah, it happens all the time, when we're there.
When we're there. I know you go there a lot, right, Levi?
Oh, yeah, 3-4 times a year.
Take your big yacht out there.
3. Yeah. Anyways, it was funny because we're just like going back and forth, and it was like we both did know, so we're like, oh, you may be right. I don't know. But so it did. It started in two corners, and it really wasn't bad enough at first for anybody really to take tires. And then it was like once it got to that point, it was there, like now. We have to go now. And I'm going to go ahead and say it now, and I'll say it later probably. Red Bull and Max, their strategies were so on point. Max was griping, wanting to come in for tires. Even when it started raining, he's like, I could do a lot better if it wasn't for these tires over the radio. And at the same time, they just kept telling him, we're waiting out for this rain. We're holding out for this rain. They just did a great job all around.
I thought Max killed it with the tire saving too, man. Like, honestly, top job to him. I know he's got the best car, so everybody's like, oh, he's going to manage the tires for him. But honestly, man, like, you can't discredit it. Like, he held on to those mediums for a long freaking time.
A long time, man. That was it. It kind of discredited all the other races we've seen and all of the other announcing and commentating we've seen where it's like, oh, well, the mediums have so many laps. And like, no, dude. This guy, that was insane. I mean, maybe it is the car, maybe it is the driver. I don't know. I don't know if anyone can do that. I'm not a Formula One driver, but that was a very long time on those yellow tires.
Yeah. And then when the rain starts, Alonso, a lot of people are kind of banging on him during the race. He came in, he got, I think he went on yellows or hards. I can't remember which when the rain had started, but we didn't know if it was full on. The bad part was him and Max are so far above everyone else, he could do that with no penalty for position. So I say I get exactly what they were doing. Look, if Max goes on inners and we go on slicks and it quits racing, you might catch him, and he's going to have to come back in the pits, and we don't. It didn't happen. He comes back in and gets tires. I mean, that's how far away from everyone else Alonso and Max were. They could play this little chess game and not lose anything. Max, like I said, he didn't play any chess game. That was just win, win, win. I mean, it's strictly how you would dissect that race if you say you're going to win this looking backwards.
On that strategy call, I really do think that they got caught out too by an unfortunate circumstance, because honestly, I think I know the announcers were saying if that sector was the only one that the rain stayed in, it's actually faster to stay on to stay on slicks than it is for rain. But I really think Alonso just got caught out. He was in the pit lane as it pretty much started raining everywhere, as opposed to where it was just raining on the one side of the track there down by the hairpin. And I really thought at the time it probably was the best call. I don't think they could have foreseen it just being hey, it's going to dump. I think they just came in at literally the worst possible time and got caught out by an unfortunate circumstance.
He was mad.
I agree. Hindsight's 20/20.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at that point, what do you do? Is it worth it to hold him an extra few seconds? And who knows? I mean, it could be an extra 30 seconds. We've seen teams scramble and they don't have the right tires ready. Would it have been worth it, or should they have just sent him back out? I mean, honestly, I think sending him out is faster, unless you think you can grab the new tires in 19 seconds. I think that's what they were saying is how much time he lost in the pits was 19 seconds overall.
Yeah, I think you got to send him out. I also think that they had the ability to risk it, and if they risked, the risk versus reward was at that point where you got to go for it. You weren't going to lose anything by getting their strategy wrong. You were going to gain everything by nailing that strategy. Because Max needed tires and Alonso needed tires. They weren't going to last much longer. And with Max out there on those tires, he was in what the conditions they were in, Alonso could have made up a lot of time and made that race something if that rain would have held off.
I thought overall Alonso did an incredible job.
Yes.
I'm happy rain came in. That was cool. It shook up the race.
Yes.
It was cool. Yeah.
I love rain in Monaco, dude. I know it's dangerous as hell. And every time I think about it, I just go back to there's a meme out there. This is everyone else in racing at Monaco in the rain, and it's all these cars going by, and it was with Kimi Räikkönen was in the Ferrari team, and it says Kimi when it's raining, and he comes by with his DRS open. He actually hit the button to see if it's still working. It was wide open, and he's just cruising down through there. But there's just been so many good races in the rain at Monaco, man, and it's it's picturesque to me. The spray coming off the back, and the casino in the background, and all the buildings, and all the yachts out there.
I would say it was entertaining, but it was a mess out there.
Oh, yeah. Well, and then you started having offs once the rain started. I know, Sainz had his little snafu before. I'm pretty sure he had it off into the runoff area. And then right behind him was Russell. And then Russell came back out on the track and clipped Perez pretty much off the tire and it unsafe rejoin.
Do y'all agree with that call of unsafe rejoin?
100%. I think the bad part about it is, where are we talking about? It's Monaco. When is it really safe to rejoin? There was cars all over the track, but at the same time, you can't just let somebody pull out of something like that and run into another driver and there not be something.
But he had to. He could only go backwards.
I don't know, man. I mean, I see both sides, but I'm leaning more towards you professional figure it out kind of thing.
Yeah. That's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah. Because if he stays there long enough, the yellow comes out. If he acts like he can't move, then the yellow comes out. That's about its only other.
I feel like he did everything that he could have done to try to safely rejoin the track, because he wasn't literally off the track. He still was already sitting in the track against the wall.
And of course, poor Logan Sargent. In the rain. He had already had a crap day. All right. He was racing out there. He was holding literally half the pack behind him, I think, at one point. And I've been there. I've been there in these sprint races in League Zero. Sometimes you just qualify well enough to get up there in that sprint race, and you're like, I know these guys are faster than me, but you're just going to have to go around. Just go around. And they're trying, and you're like, it seemed like Logan, if he could have, he just would have put his hand out the window or out the top, be like, just go around.
Yeah, it was.
And finally, once one of them goes, it was like the floodgates, and he was just like dodging people. It was horrible.
Pass left button racing.
Oh yeah. Yeah. He's like pass left. And then on top of that, it gets rain, and he's literally by himself. Can't blame anybody else, and he just slides to the slowest stop and bumps into the fence in the carousel. Oh, I was like, get this man out of here. I love that we got an American driver, but Albon was doing a lot better than him. You know what I'm saying? In the same car. So. Unfortunately, he had another horrible day.
While we're on that, I'm curious. So, we have obviously some of the best drivers in the world in this sport, obviously, and we can see clearly it goes to show how hard it is to get around Monaco in the rain. Like, the best drivers in the world are messing up. But on that note, do you guys really think that F1 gives some of these guys a fair shot? Because I've been doing a lot of thinking recently, because I was watching F3 and 2 this weekend, and I was like, man, these guys, like, are all good. Like, they're all good. And it makes me wonder, like, what some of those guys would do in equal machinery. Like, I honestly think F1 should really just come up with some sort of all-star race and throw these guys in an F2 car, and let's see who's the best. We got no idea. Some of them had never raced together.
That would be cool. Honestly, but it might ruin everything.
Yeah, because you put all these perceptions in. Hey, man, Williams really does suck that much that Logan Sargent looks like he sucks. Well, you know what I mean?
Right. It might ruin everything.
We kind of got a taste of it in F1, right? Back in the day when was it Bottas that was out? Is that right? Who'd Russell come and fill in for?
Oh, that was that was Lewis.
It was Lewis.
Lewis was sick with COVID or something.
We saw what happened, right? I mean, dude smashed pretty much everybody, and then due to a tire snafu, oh darn, he can't win that race. Years later, he signed a Mercedes. Like, I don't think any of that past that point was a mistake or just luck of the draw for him. We kind of seen it, right? That's what my point is. Sorry, I get off on a tangent, but that's my point. We did see it, and we saw what happened, and it did almost kind of like everybody was going, "What? He was in this Williams, sucking it up. Look at him go." And you also got people that are filling spaces that don't need to be there, man. I'm not going to say any names, but maybe their dad owns the effing team. And maybe they haven't done as well as their teammate. And when I say not as well, I mean 10 position difference on average.
Yeah,
bro.
It's bad. But I feel like we go through these cycles. We go through these Lance Stroll cycles, though.
What? Lance Stroll? You're talking about him?
Oh.
No, I agree with you, though. He has his ups and his downs. Like, when he's up, he's actually pretty good. But when he's down, he sucks, dude. Like, he looks like Latifi sometimes.
Bad. It's a joke, yeah. Daddy's boy.
Well, and then on top of that, you got people like Red Bull who are so harsh on their drivers that if you're not Max, you may lose your job, in the next race. I don't think any of us would be surprised if they didn't sign Checo next year or something, or they put somebody else in that spot. I don't think they will. I'm just saying that's how harsh it is. He's doing a really good job, and it's still, you see what they did with Gasly. You see what they did with Albon.
Yeah,
it's only a matter of time.
I was thinking about that too, because I was thinking about De Vries, and I was like, I wonder if this guy really got a fair shot, or if we're out here just trashing on him. Because we did. Who did it happen to as well? It happened to Mazepin too. Now, I don't want to defend Mazepin because I really don't know if he was any good. I know he kind of sucked. Now, but he did enter the sport, and he had one wreck right away, and he had that big media thing, and I'm just like, it's pretty hostile in the driver market when you just get into F1, because it really depends on what team you're on. And I know it matters in every sport. We've seen guys like in NASCAR come into a lower team, and then they hop into a good one, and all of a sudden, boom, now they're winning. And I get that, but I feel like you really can't show your potential at all in F1 in a lower team. You need something absolutely exceptional to happen, or your lower bottom tier Williams team needs to hit an upgrade for a race so you can show that you can get in the points or something, or like what Russell did back at that rainy Spa race where he got P2. Now, I know it wasn't a true P2, but the dude qualified, wasn't he? Did he qualify P2 in the rain? Like, you need something to show your talent, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like they really don't get a fair shot, and it would suck to work your way up to F1, all to get placed on Williams and get booted in 2 years because they think you suck, but in reality, it's the car.
Oh, I think that does happen, unfortunately. And like I say, it would be great to see these guys at F2 and F3 be able to move up and not have to worry about keeping a spot of somebody. I'm not with you on Maspin. He didn't need to be there. The whole reason he was there is because Daddy was paying the bill. He literally paid for his speed license or his super license. And in my mind, it's all my opinion. But I just didn't think he was up to par at all. Lance Stroll, I give him a hard time, but to y'all's point, he has had some really good finishes. I really wish I could figure out what's going on with him, because why is it? Now, Monaco, that's a one-off, dude. Some people just aren't going to be good there. That's a very niche track. You have to be a certain kind of driver to do well there. But other tracks, other times, he's went to the same track and had completely different, outcomes. But I think there's more drivers too. We just know Drive to Survive on these guys, and we might know a little bit of their background and where they came from, like karting and that kind of stuff. But like me, I knew Leclerc came from a little bit of a money background, right? Most of these guys do if you're going to go all the way to F1 because you got to have good equipment coming up. I didn't know that he was like, oh yeah, I walked the streets of Monaco when I was like 3. Like, he grew up in Monaco.
Yeah, for sure.
That you had good money for equipment to get you somewhere. You know what I mean? Like, he wasn't starting scratching from the bottom and begging someone to get a ride. I'm sure he paid for his ride to the certain point. You can't do that anymore.
Well,
he's definitely not a grassroots racer.
It makes me look at a guy like Lando Norris, though, where this kid came in the sport, was kicking everyone's like doing great. Now, obviously, he's not dominating and winning because he doesn't have the car to do it, but he was doing freaking amazing. And then what happens? The car goes to garbage. Have you even heard about this guy since? Like, we all know he's there. We like the guy. Nobody hates him or something stupid like that, but I haven't seen anything about him, and I just don't think he can do anything with that car.
You're not going to do anything with that car. I know I trash on McLaren a lot, but Zach Brown just came out and said that they'll be racing for podiums by 2025, and once the 2026 regulations come through, they'll be going for a championship. Somebody needs to shake this man. He is dreaming. He needs to wake up, bro. You are so far away. It's not even funny.
Well, unless they just pulled a Haas and committed to tossing the entire next season and this one. Like, I don't understand it.
I don't know if you can even do that, though.
But how's it?
At this point, you can't. If he's hoping that when everything changes in 2026, something great will happen. But, dude, there's so many things that's going to be moving around. It's going to be hard to dominate in 2026. You're bringing on, different manufacturers. Now we've heard that, Honda's being, going with Aston Martin. Red Bull's making their own power units.
Well, we saw in 2022, they just fell off the face of the earth with a regulation change. Like, is another one going to really benefit them? Maybe it will. I don't know.
It was bad. It was bad, and they had an off season. So everybody else has made improvements. I mean, Red Bull didn't need to, right? We know that. Aston Martin was really close because they'd already kind of copied their car. I don't know. Nobody wants to say it. I'll say it. They copied their car.
You said it.
Yeah.
You said it.
And so everybody else kind of made strides. I mean, look at Ocon. Ocon had a podium at Monaco, dude. In my mind, he had drive of the day. Yes, I know Alonso did great. Yes, I know Max did great. Ocon, I don't think that car was as good as what he put out there. He drove a hell of a race. And he did what he was supposed to. He hit his mark, so to speak, and he brought the thing home. I think he was punching way above his weight class. Maybe I'm wrong there, but he did a really good job there. And I think that Alpine team's showing you something. Last year, they showed you straight line speed. I think they put a car together that's actually really decent all around. Mercedes came with side pods. They threw out that. What I'm trying to get to is McLaren hasn't really changed. Like you said, they came out and trashed with this new car, and they cannot figure it out.
Still trash.
You're going to you're going to completely change the game.
Now it looks like a cigarette.
What's that, Dave?
I said now their car looks like a cigarette.
Yeah.
And they suck.
Yeah, and at the same time, you're going to... I just got that.
And it does. It looks like a half-burnt cigarette. Like, there's no tobacco in Formula One. Like, BS. Look at the McLaren.
Yeah. It's just driving around. There's two of them out there. But all I'm saying is, in my rant, is that everybody else has made improvements on their car. It seems like they're trying to go in the right direction, and they still have not changed their car. But when everything else changes in 2026, somehow we're just going to miraculously wake up and be, up at the front. I just don't see it.
I know Haas did this, and I don't know how it worked, but Haas held out upgrading their car for a season so they can bring more changes in the next season. So maybe that's what they're looking to do is, hey, we're not upgrading this car. We're not upgrading it next year. We're bringing all our upgrades in 2025. And they're already and that's what they're working on right now is their 2025 upgrades. So they're going to get twice as much testing in the wind tunnel, twice as much, this testing and all that, and they're just putting all their money in building a whole brand new car in 2 years.
What's weird about that though is they have the most sponsors out of anybody though. Like you can't. I don't think you can afford to toss 2 seasons and just have your sponsors be okay with that. Like, do they even get any TV time? Because I haven't seen anything other than on social media pages. Man, I ain't gonna lie. When's the last time they were on TV?
Yeah. So I used to be a McLaren guy. And so I kind of figured out how they do their advertising. So they always get the small sponsors because it's easy. Zach Brown explained this one time on one of their little specials, but he said it's a lot easier to ask for small money from a lot of people than ask for big money from like 2 people. And so that's kind of the marketing they went on. Now, I have noticed lately that I think, what is it, Views or something? Is it a vape or something? I don't even know what the heck that is.
Yeah, Views is
So that's a synthetic vape, nicotine additive type, whatever the heck that stuff is. I've noticed that's a bigger sponsor on the car. I've noticed he's been rolling with bigger sponsors. So I guess to your point is he's got the most sponsors, but they're not putting in as much money as some of the bigger sponsors you see on other people's cars. So maybe it's easier to talk them into the smaller, money's not doing anything.
Yeah.
And do they cross over a lot of their sponsors from Indy?
They kind of, there's definitely some in the same bed, like Mission Tortilla and others.
Right. And
Dell, also Google, Coca-Cola too, I think is on there.
And I also noticed that they were running Cleaner Tomorrow or something like that. Is that a Cleaner Tomorrow, which is their tobacco clean company or whatever that we've already talked about in previous podcasts. And we'll talk about more.
But they're running cigarette cars.
Yeah.
That's so Formula One, dude.
Yeah.
That's so Formula One.
But we'll touch on that. But as far as the race goes, I thought it was a very interesting race. I thought it was great for Monaco. And for my drive of the day, I have to say it was Ocon. I don't know how y'all feel about it, but
solid performance.
I'm with it. I think he did good.
Solid.
I really think that Alpine is doing great in regards to the battle of the mid-pack. I don't think we can call it best of the rest anymore. I think the mid-pack overall has just been doing really good in that sense, or they've been doing really good in the sense of like the mid-pack. They're not quite up to par with the money that Ferrari and Mercedes and Red Bull has, but I guess and Aston Martin too. But I think they're there. They're the best of those.
Did you guys catch any of the drama with the Alpine boss this weekend? How like over the last couple of weeks he's been talking about how like there needs to be changes made and how something needs to give, and then all of a sudden they get a podium and he's like barging into the team photo and like slapping everyone high fives, and like he was just talking about possibly replacing some of the crew over results, and then that happens and he's like, yeah guys, way to go everybody.
Podiums make the bosses happy, bro.
I know. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of chatter online about how everyone's pretty salty about how he acted this weekend in reference to their podium and his comments over the last couple of weeks.
You know what he's going to say about that, right? I had to make. I went in there and demanded people's jobs, went headhunting, and look what happened. I did it. It was me. Look at me with the podium.
I had to give them the poo-poo. Yeah, whatever. Okay.
On the same side of things, a little bit different controversy or anything. What about Russell there towards the end of the race asking the team to make Lewis pull over for him?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty petty, honestly, because he wasn't close when he first started asking. I know you can tell that you're gaining on someone, but tire fall off and just Monaco itself. and you don't know what Hamilton's game plan is. Maybe he's trying to save up to, run fastest lap or whatever the case may be. I thought it was very, very premature. Mm-hmm. He comes down the front stretch at the same time that he is or something. And he's like, hey, what are we doing here? He's like, you can pull over and I can go attack. And it's like, dude, you're not even close. You're like 3 seconds behind him right now.
And he was pulling on, was it signs that he was pulling on? So it's like, and Mercedes like, hey, dude, your time penalty is not going to affect anyway, so you don't need around him.
Yeah.
And he still was whining about, I need to get around him.
I think Russell's feeling that pressure. He can see that he's right there at a crucial time that he needs to attack and look better than Hamilton, and it's going to look great for him in the long run. I think is where he's at. And anyways, I think that's where that goes.
Asking for him to give the position up.
Good look.
No, my thing is, if Hamilton, they would have agreed to that, do you think he would have stayed within 5 seconds of Hamilton, or do you think he would have taken off?
Oh, yeah, no, he wouldn't. I mean, I don't think he was going to ever get that. I don't think that would have changed anything, honestly.
I know, but I'm just saying, I don't see as a race car driver, me getting around my teammate being like, no, I got to give back. I got to stay 5 seconds in front of him so he gets the position. No, I see him at the end just taking it.
Oh, yeah, he would have drove away. He would have been like Max. He got on the radio, told you, I'm not letting him pass, and I've got my reasons. I've already told you why.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think that's enough of Monaco. It was a good race.
Yep.
Love it. I love to see it. I love the atmosphere. It seems like someplace I want to be that I never will be.
Yeah.
So, next up, Barcelona.
Rain is a good thing.
Yeah, rain was a good thing. But next up's Barcelona. Last year was a DNF for Leclerc that gave Max Verstappen the win with Perez and Russell behind him. I don't know if that actually matters. And there were so many spaces behind him. We're talking like 13 seconds for second place and 32 seconds for third at that point. But yeah, I mean, what are y'all's takes on the Mercedes and the new side pods? Do you think they're actually going to make a difference at this new track? I think that's the biggest thing that I'm looking to see.
I think yes, they will, but it won't be enough of a difference that we see it.
I think we see it, but it's not something that you're going to be like, oh yeah, they're Mercedes again. I think they'll maybe not compete with Alonso, but they'll be competitive with Ferrari. But that already, like right there, I think they're going to put a lot more pressure on a Ferrari strategy team now.
You know my honest take on it?
Yeah.
I actually really hope it does something major and puts Mercedes back into no, I don't know if they'll get to Red Bull because they're so crazy, but my hope would be that it puts Mercedes in a spot where they can contend. Because I think right now, that whole rest of the field is kind of weird. Like, the only people really battling are, now you can say constructors, Aston Martin and Mercedes are battling. But I really think Mercedes is going to beat him if Stroll can't pull his weight. They just outperform him. Both of them always do, other than obviously Alonso. But I just think there needs to be something. Like, this season seems a little bit boring in the sense of the championships don't really have anything going on. Like, we're not really doing anything. It's fighting for minor points that don't seem to really add up to much. Like, though Mercedes and Aston Martin are a point away, it doesn't feel like they're battling because they're not on track. So someone needs to bridge the gap. We need someone to do something. And I mean, I think if any of the teams can do it, we know Ferrari can't. Let's be honest. Like, I've accepted that. Everyone has. They suck. They're terrible. I need someone. I need Mercedes to get back on track so that they can prove that Ferrari's dumb. Like, how do you lose that bad? And then we know no one else can bridge the gap in between other than Mercedes. I don't think Aston Martin's making any progress. They're kind of just sitting where they are. Now, they've built a good car. I'm not going to discredit them. But again, I think if anyone can do it, I think it's Mercedes. You're welcome, Norman, by the way, because I know you're like, wow, this guy's commenting Mercedes is great. He's a Ferrari guy. He hates them. But
yeah, all you really got to do to get around Ferrari is just get close enough to them to make them make a tire strategy or any strategy period, and they will screw it up and you can beat them. So if they could just get close to Ferrari, they'll probably beat them.
It's so embarrassing, man, honestly, though. Like, it's not even embarrassing, though, for the fact of, like, that it's my team and I like Ferrari. It's embarrassing that, like, how do you have a team that big and they can't do... It's like McLaren. Like, how can you not do anything with it? You're making these rookie mistakes here at Ferrari. Like, you can't put a strategy together. Obviously, you need something to change, man. Like, you can't just keep sitting here with the same guys being like, oh, we're just going to fire the head of the strategists. Like, man, get somebody in there. Like, it's not working. Like, I don't get it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm afraid we're going to be asking that question all year long.
Even this weekend, they were the last team to go to wet tires. Like, wets, inters, whatever you want to call it. They were still on dries. They were the longest team out there on dries. Why? Anyways, I could complain all day about it. You get what I mean. We need some competition, man. That's all it is.
No, you're fine. I was going to move away from that for a second. Just something real quick that I ran into before we get into our In It, Win It, and Bin It segment, which we always do. So everybody start kind of thinking about that. But just a side note, I did run into some Inside Line on YouTube, put up an F1 2023 estimates of how much these drivers are making in F1, which it just blows my mind every time you see a professional sport of any kind and how much they're making. You're like, man, just throw me like $100 bill, you know? Hook a brother up.
Yeah.
But so Max is the highest at 55, and these are all estimates, and you know what I mean? They're estimates. I don't know what these estimates tied into. I don't know if it's just their salaries or whatever. I don't know. It's just kind of neat to look at. But Max Verstappen is $55 million is his 2023 estimate, which, I mean, for the sport, not too bad. Sir Lewis Hamilton is at 35 is his next. I'm going to go ahead and give you just the top 10 because I think this just blows my mind. Charles Leclerc at 24, Lando at 20. You see a pretty big drop with Carlos Sainz at 12 million. Sergio Perez below him at 10. And for what he's bringing to the table, I don't feel like that's... Valtteri Bottas, I mean, Alfa Romeo is just paying him to stay, right? I mean, that's what that one is. You got George Russell at 8 million. Esteban Ocon at 6 million. And then the one that blew my damn mind is down here at Fernando Alonso at 5 million for what he's bringing to the team. Does that seem a little skewed?
I think that's I've made my money. I just want to be back in F1 and racing.
I guess he does have the ability to do that with his money.
That's
like,
kind of what I was
really
going to say.
matter.
Like, I think. No, and I think that's totally Fernando. Like him racing in the Indy 500 and like him leaving Formula One and going to Le Mans. Like the dude just loves racing.
And I love it. I love it. When I saw that and I rolled down, I was like, man, that's messed up. And I thought, man, that's pretty damn cool that he'll still do that, you know? Because from there on out, it goes down, 5 million, 5 million, 3 million, 2, down to, your rookies and stuff that are making about $1 million or $2 million. But yeah, I just thought that one, just a little tidbit of information, the driver salaries, just kind of blows my mind that Fernando Alonso is putting up podiums on the regular, making 5. And you got people like Lando Norris making $20 million. They're paying this guy to drive around in a cracked car. Not his fault.
Yeah.
But anyways.
But yeah, I think it's just a sign that Fernando Alonso is a boss.
Oh, yeah. A badass. All around badass.
Do we think his numbers are lower potentially? No, I'm not trying to discredit him in any way. I just mean, like, do we think maybe his numbers could be lower because he's, like, known to be a team hopper?
Yeah. I mean, he's not a lifer. One, he's 41 years old, right?
That's true.
So he's not going to be around for much longer. And like you said,
so we think
he never was. Oh, right. Well, and like you said, even on top of that, scratch his age. Like you said, he doesn't hold out for the team. He's not loyal, so to speak. He's just wanting to win, which I love. Again, honestly.
Yeah.
But anyways, just a little tidbit of information. We can go into the In It, Win It, Bin It. Who's up this week? Have we made the full circle, or is it Norman now?
I think it's Norman now.
Hey. Don't be skipping me.
No, we made the full circle. Take it away, Antonio.
Yeah.
No.
Hey, wait. Should we go over our points for last week? By the way, I'm curious. You guys want to know?
Yes. Shoot.
Okay. So, Dave, I need your bin pick. That's all I need because I can't remember what you picked.
Bennett was Max Verstappen, and I got that wrong.
So,
and I was thinking we probably should have reset the whole thing for just Monaco. We should have put it wide open because any of those guys could have wrecked in that water, in that rain. But anyway,
yeah, true.
Ahead.
So I only ended up with, it looks like 1 point, unfortunately. I was so close to getting the win pick right. But Ocon, well, I guess Alonso is technically included though, isn't he? We took out Red Bull. I was thinking Lewis needed to just get on the podium, so never mind. I only got 1 point. From the looks of it, Dave did not get the win pick. He did get the in pick. He did not get the bin pick, so that gives him also 1 point. Levi picked Alonso to win. He did get this correct. He picked Sainz to be in. He also got this correct. And he picked Piastri to wreck, which unfortunately he didn't get. He's one lap down.
Why you got to be so good?
So, yeah, I know. The one time you need him to... Anyways, would have been a good time to pick him in my pool because he actually got a point this week. But I don't know if that's ever going to happen again. Actually, both McLarens got a point this week after all this we just talked.
Look at him. Yeah, we talking trash, and they both got points.
Norman picked Stroll to win, which couldn't have been any further off because he finished 20th. Actually, they didn't classify him because he was so far back. So we're not going to include him. So he got 0 points. Russell, he got a point for Russell in his in pick, and for Ben, he picked De Vries, which unfortunately didn't work as well. So Norman ended up with 1 point. Moving on to this week. Norman, you're up.
Yeah, we're Barcelona with no chicane.
Hell yeah, screw the chicane.
Oh yeah.
There's only
I was
one
waiting
driver.
for somebody to say something about that. I'm like, okay, I guess they're going to leave it to me.
There's only one driver on the track that's raced this configuration.
Let me guess, Alonso?
Alonso.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Oh, my
He's the
man.
only timepiece that old.
Well, you know. Are we doing a special order now? Or are we just going with what we want to start with?
Go win in bin. That's how I got it listed here. Unless you want to go opposite and start with your worst first.
All up to
Just
you,
pick
Norman.
it first, bro.
We're gonna start with the win because y'all have already said his name. We're gonna go with Alonso. Home race, and I feel like he's gonna be a man on a mission, and he's an easy pick for the win for this one. I think, unless Mercedes comes out of nowhere, which I will pick Lewis Hamilton as my in. I'm gonna go with his seniority over Russell this week. And then for my Bennett, this is going to hurt me, but I think Nico Hülkenberg doesn't finish the race. I think they have a technical failure.
Huh, okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
For you to pick a Haas, did not make it.
Sacrilege.
Fair enough.
I got to get points, and sometimes you got to go against what you really want to do to try to get points.
So, I'm going to just quickly run you through the rules because I would feel like we always forget to do this. So, in it, win it, Bennett does not include Red Bull. So, you cannot pick Red Bull to win the race or be in it. They have to be only a Bennett pick, and you'll get a point for it. That's it. So, win it is the highest finishing non-Red Bull car gains you a point. In it, the driver who finishes in the point scoring position. So, if your driver finishes in the points paying position as your in pick, you get a point. And Bennett is the driver has to DNF from the race. It doesn't mean they have to be not classified. It's just they don't take the checkered. That's how it works. But laps down don't count. It's physically not taking the checkered. That's what we're going by. That's just makes it easier. Anyways, moving on to my picks. I actually get to pick decent this week. Who do I want to pick this week to win? Well, Norman took the best option, unfortunately. But you know what? Let's say that something crazy happens. And let's say that Mercedes' crazy upgrades come true. So I'm going to pick Hamilton to win, even though I did it last week and he let me down. But I'm going to do it again. Because I don't think there's anything saying I can't do it. So I'm picking Hamilton to win. Moving on to my in pick. We're going to pick George Russell. Let's do the Mercedes trifecta here. So Russell's going to be in it for sure. And
So we're going to pick a Williams to Bennett?
yeah, why not, man? Let's pick, what do we got here? We got Logan Sargent. Let's pick him to Bennett. Why not? He'll lose it. We go. I'm on the Mercedes wave.
Way to go.
I was juicing him up earlier. So you know what? I'll juice him up again and hopefully they give me some points. They probably won't because, they're known. They'll probably let me down, just like my team does.
Not one Ferrari, bro. Not one Ferrari.
No, I can't. They let me down too much, dude. It's just I can't do it.
Logan actually comes in third.
But anyways, I think that passes.
Dude, if that happens, I quit watching.
Yeah, I know. Of course, that would be my luck
That
too.
means what other two cars were running? Because everybody else was wrecked
They
out.
say
pretty much.
Lewis Hamilton and George both don't finish at the points.
Yeah, their side pods actually fall off and they get disqualified or something. That'd be my luck. But passing it to Dave, you're up next, buddy. Who you got for winning?
Win the race other than Red Bull. That's not Alonso or Hamilton or who? Oh wait, yeah, Levi's thought, man. Let's see. Oh gosh, this is usually where I'd say Charles Leclerc, but I just can't do that.
Come on, man, he's got it.
I just can't do that.
Reverse psychology.
All right, you know what? I'll say it. Charles Leclerc win.
Yeah.
Charles Leclerc win it. And then in it, I'm gonna go with. Let's see, points. I'm gonna pick. I like flirting with disaster here. I like trying to pick like 8, 9, or 10. In it, let's go with Valtteri Bottas in it, and Bennett, Mr. I got to go on the Haas train, Kevin Magnussen. Oops. Kevin Magnussen. I don't know why, just because, it's a random pick, but just because. Yeah.
All right, Levi, you can't pick Alonso, Leclerc, or Hamilton for your win pick. Who you got left?
Stole my Leclerc. Hamilton is a joke. No
you
offense.
Got
Alonso is the easy pick. Come on now.
All right, you got Sainz or Stroll or who else is good here?
I do not think this is going to go, but I wanted to so bad. Carlos Sainz on a podium here.
I'm with it, guys.
Would make my life just really, really. I like the dude. I think he's a good dude. Anyways, in it, shoot, Pierre Gasly. Let's just toss it up there a little bit. Nobody's riding the Yuki train.
There you go, buddy.
Yuki out there. There you go. We got to have him on there. So that's my pick.
I'm just saying, guys, I'm loving the support for Ferrari. I know, I forced you guys to by picking the other contenders, but I still loving the support. It's still there.
I want to love him.
You ain't getting it from me.
Him.
I want to love him, but they are hard to love, man.
Yeah, and Leclerc, man, it seems like that they're putting enough love into Leclerc that he should be doing better than he is. And I know that's not all his fault, but he has had his own hiccups in the last 2 seasons.
Yeah,
you have to admit.
Yes.
Now going back to what Antonio said earlier about how the season is and it's so weird. When I was looking at the points just a minute ago, I would not have put Lewis Hamilton and Russell sitting 4th and 5th in the points.
Yeah. As much as we bang on them, they've had solid finishes for what they have, right? For what they're bringing to the table. And now with these side parts aren't magical, guys. They're not like they just threw 2 turbos on the engine, extra. So, you know what I'm saying? They didn't get 20, 30, 40, 100 more horsepower. It's a whole car situation, but I think they have recognized it was wrong. They dumped it and went in the right direction. So I think they will get better from here on out.
Well, I think all they're doing is going to solidify their, second place in the constructors and probably maybe one can get to 3rd in the driver championship, but 4th and 5th pretty much can lock in now.
Well, I don't know that for now, but here in the future.
Yeah, I think it all depends on how Ferrari turns around. They're still close. Ferrari's really Sainz only a couple points behind Russell, but I think from I guess I'm more speaking on constructors terms. I mean, even drivers as well. Yeah, we can have a shakeup from 4th to 7th, but do we really care about 4th to 7th? Not really. But constructors wise, Mercedes and Aston Martin are 1 point difference, but everyone else is nowhere close. I mean, yeah, the bottom teams are always going to be close. They're fighting for a point or 2 that makes a difference, but it's 1 point. I mean, and it's literally Alonso versus Lewis and George. There's nothing going on. I don't know. It's a little bit boring. I'm just hoping the races tend to get a little bit better here in the future. I feel like they should be better than Mercedes and somehow close to Aston Martin. I feel like they shouldn't be where they are. Now, Mercedes, I'll be honest with you, if you told me to be completely truthfully honest, I think if you line up Mercedes and Ferrari in a strategy game, Mercedes will always come out on top. We saw that in prior years, 2019 and stuff. You're always going to see them come out on top. Ferrari can never get their strategy calls right, ever. We've never seen them do good. But at the same time, I feel like they have the car that should be better than Mercedes. But now, mind you, with the upgrades, maybe it's balanced out. We don't know because they screw up every week. So I don't know what to tell you. You know what I mean?
We'll have to see, man. Time will tell. But we got a lot of the season left, dude. We're only on the 8th race of the season.
It's only round 8. So. We still got, I guess, what does that leave us with? 14 to go still? It was 22 rounds this year? I guess 21 minus the cancellation.
But anyways, so lap 18.
We did it. Yay!
Yep.
Almost at 20. That's pretty crazy.
I know.
Maybe do something special.
It'll be Le Mans wrap up for 20.
Pizza party.
What's something cool that's associated with number 20? Mike? No, it's not. It's a big one. I was going to say the 20. Never mind. I'm going to take it back.
Nice try. You almost did it.
You know.
Hey, I got DoorDash in my little podunk Western Oklahoma town now. Ooh, no way. Do they have gator bites? That's the question.
Only Alabama.
Yeah, that's only Alabama. Sorry.
Gator
filet. You're gonna have
Gator filet.
We got that Bronx. We got that Canes out here though.